Hi, my friend, it's Pat Sloan here. We are Scrappiness is Happiness, and I have another upcoming quilt along to show you, which will be a lot of fun. But first, I have to tell you, yesterday on Sunday was a kickoff to Library Week. I think it's perfect that we're doing the Library Quilt Along during the week or month of libraries, celebrating libraries. So I just have to show you the quilt again. So this is kickoff week of library quilts, and I bet your local libraries are doing something really fabulous this week. So here is my quilt. This is the one that we all are making, and I can't wait to see what kind of unique and wonderful fabrics you find for your different books. Everybody's been talking about how just hunting through your fabrics, looking for those fun prints that can be on the edge of the spine of the book has just been so cool, going through what you already have, and maybe doing a little shopping when you're out at a store or a quilt show. Yes, I did hear the word shopping happen. That's okay. It is Scrappiness is Happiness. Now, last week we did the tulips, which meant the tulip, just one, but that meant I could sew all the way to here. So that is fantastic. Now there are more blocks on the end here, more blocks on the end there, but what we are doing is this nice empty spot here. That means we can sew all of this. All I have to do is sew these parts to the middle, but we have one block there, which I am really happy to have. I think it's those ones in the middle, now you can connect it. I'm cool with the things on the end now. Everything else I think is on the end. So that's okay. We got long rows now that I can just hang up and put down. That's the whole goal, how much work is it to hang it up on the wall? Okay, let's go and look at some options, because this is a super scrappy block. This is the book that we're doing the sew along from, Scrappiness is Happiness, and it is really about using scraps. Now, Lori Holt tends to keep certain size blocks, and so she does write some of the patterns for using those versus another method, because she's using pre-cut scraps that she has in certain sizes that she likes to keep. And she's told you all about that in the beginning of the book. So we are on the quick broken dishes, which is this is done with sew and flips. So that's the block, and I want to show you, and it is set up very, very scrappy, so that each block has a lot of different fabrics in it, and then set side by side, right? Yeah, it looks like side by side. So you can see the scraps above, how she keeps them certain sizes, and look at these machines. Oh my goodness, cool machines, right? Anybody else have one of those? If you have an old machine like one of those, tell me down in the description box. Okay, here's a close-up. Oh, we can see the machines again. Here we go. With all of the scrappy goodness. So there's light backgrounds and then just a wild array of colors, nothing controlled at all. So I want to talk about what I want to do for mine, because mine is more controlled since I'm using less colors in my quilt. It's that blue background and white, aqua, navy, and a little gold. So I am not going to do gold, because on either side of this block is gold. There's a gold apple and then a gold flower. So I'm not going to do the gold fabrics. The backgrounds, I am not going to try to do every single unit a different color. That's just too much for me. I don't have that many lights, and I'm just doing one block. So I decided, and I think I can use this up. This is all I have of this one, the paper airplanes. So whatever I can get out of here, I will for this block. And then I have these other three. So I'm just going to go with those as my lights. And then I have these lighter pieces. They're not navy, but they're sort of navy and white. And this is, so I am going to put these in here. I'm not going to use that one because it is right close above it. There's a great big corner on that pineapple. That's this fabric, so I won't use that fabric. So other than that, I will go ahead and put these three with then a bunch of aquas. So let me go ahead and make the block, and we can take a look at it. So each block takes 8 fabrics, and they're going to be double of the lights. That's my formula to do this anyway. That's how I'm thinking about it. So I'm doing a 4 patch, and then these will be sew and flip like this on these 2 corners. I'm just going to use the same ones. I mean, you could mix them up, but I'm just going to use the same ones in each corner. And then after those sew and flips, over on the darker fabric is another sew and flip like this and like this. So let me just do this one block and show you. And I have everything laid out here and in groupings. So actually I need to like mix it up a bit. I have to switch these around. I have to do like this, okay, and like that. There we go. So now I've got the sets all ready to sew. All right, let me do this one. Now I have the 4 patch with the, so we had the 4 patch, right? The 4 patch, and then now I sewed the aqua on these corners, and then I will sew the cream color, white color on the other 2 corners. And I'm using that same formula for all of them, the 4 patch, 2 aqua, and then 2 other lights. So I'm not mixing up and using some of these other aqua, like a 1, like I didn't mix it up like this, but you could if you wanted it more scrappy. But I'm just going to keep it like this. In order to trim these as I went along and just make it a little more efficient, I mean, my iron is right over there on the end of the table, but I went and put the little cutting mat and got a rotary cutter so that I could just trim these off here as I'm working rather than going to the other side of the table, because I had to do them quite often. So let me get this last one, let me get the last 2 on here, and I'll show you the layout, and it is coming out so good. So good, better than I expected. Here are the 4 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. And my formula was to do the darks, the dark blues in the middle. I cut those and I thought they would maybe be more scrappy. Then I realized looking at the star that if I put them in that spot where they became the star points, it made the star a lot stronger. Also, I decided I needed a 4th one because I only had 3 that I'd been working with, so I went and got something else that had that same feel where it was a lot lighter but still just the blue or the navy, and then the aquas were done on the other corners and whites where the blue was. So then we put them all together and it looks very scrappy, even though I have a lot of repeats. So each of the blocks have 2 of the same fabric. You know, I didn't mix it up so that they were all one everywhere else. And I think it still works fabulous. If you're going to do the whole quilt like this and went with this formula, where it's just maybe a little easier to keep track of. I don't know, maybe for some of you, might be for me. I think that it would still turn out super cool like this one, and you get that same effect. Plus, I really like making the star points a bit stronger than the other color, because that way I'm not going to lose the star. All right, let me sew it up and see how it looks. There it is, all sewn together. Do I have it right? Yes. There's one block that has 2 directional fabrics. The white you don't notice as much. There are some leaves. I could have been fine had they gone another direction, but I really wanted those mushrooms going straight up on here. And so I purposely made sure that this block is in the upper left, so I don't put it in the quilt. It'll be in the upper left. So let's see how it looks with all of its friends over here. Yes, yes. There we go. Oh, that's great. I think there's a sashing between here. This doesn't hit right up on that one. So yeah, and at my website today, there'll be a straight on photo for you to take a look at of this. Straight on. So yeah, that's so pretty in there. So I've already got the bottom piece cut. So I'll sew this, sew this, sew this. Boom. And then that's done. That's done. All right. Before we go and look at another upcoming quilt along, first I want to just give you a reminder about our Harrisonburg fundraiser for the Virginia Quilt Museum, and that there's several events you can get involved with as you're finishing up your quilt. So let's take a look. So I want to do a Harrisonburg Quilt Along reminder. Remember our Quilt Along for the fundraiser for the Virginia Quilt Museum? there's a couple of ways you can get involved. Get your quilt top done. First is the virtual quilt show, where you can get your top no matter what stage you consider done. It could just be a pillow, it could be a table runner, it could be a smaller version of the top, and then you can share it into for the virtual quilt show. You have until October 1st to do that. Then for if you can be there in person on September 16th at the museum with Wendy and I, and you could bring your quilt and show us. We could take pictures. You can see the original, which is going to be so fabulous. You'll see mine and Wendy's that day, so we'll be there for the afternoon. And then coming up for September to December of 2024. No, we're not going back in time. For 2024, the end of the year, next year, there will be a physical quilt show of a small number of quilts into the museum. So you'll be able to later in early fall this year, enter your quilt to be considered. So you pay it's a fundraiser again, so you pay a very small entry fee, and then and you can read the directions now about what it means to enter your quilt. So fun. Can't wait. So this is a reminder. I'm not going to be sewing anything more today on it. This is just done the other week, just a reminder video. So you're working on these babies for the edge. Okay, so there's your friendly reminder to get your top done. Let's talk about the chicken salad quilt. This is the quilt that we'll be doing. It is a version of the chicken salad quilt that the Fat Quarter Shop did while Lori Holt was running her one with the applique chicken. So Lori did applique chickens with this setting, and the Fat Quarter Shop instead did pieced blocks with kitchen themes from both of Lori's books, the Farm Girl Vintage and the Farm Girl Vintage 2. So the blocks are pulled from both of these. So first, let me just show you up close the blocks, and then we'll look at the fabrics. Okay, so let's take a look at that. For this quilt, there are 12 blocks, and I have a prior video where actually I had the quilt on loan from the Fat Quarter Shop, and then they auctioned this at one point, so they don't have the quilt anymore, or I would have had it to show you. So let's look at some of the blocks here. We'll look at all 12 up close so that you can see them. Here is the pie block with the little oven mitts. How cute is that? So cute. And then there is a mixing bowl with a double mixing bowl with a spoon on top. We have a bunch of canning jars, and they're so darling. Cherries, so there's 2 cherries, and they've got little leaves at the top. Of course, you can't have a kitchen make chicken salad without an apron, so this is a super cute apron block. Then we have pears, double pears. I love that it's cut in half. There's a tea kettle so that we can make a pot of tea. We also have a corn and tomatoes. I like the little stems on the tomatoes. Well, I like the corn too. I think the corn's pretty fun. There's watermelon, one of my favorite, probably like my favorite summer fruit, watermelon with a fork. Do you eat watermelon with a fork? I think I might. We have these the mixer. So there you go. You got a mixer because you got to make your cakes and everything. And then a jar of jelly. So with a little cloth cover on it. All so darling. And then here is the back, which of the original. So there was a strip. And then Kimberly puts her label right in the middle. That's what that lighter spot is. So there you go. There's an up close of chicken salad. First, I want to focus just on what I'll be making, which is the pieced ones. I will talk about the chickens at the end. So just hold on. Let me do this part first. So Lori has this fabric line that is used called Cookbook. So the fabric line is called Cookbook, so cute. And all these yummy colors. Just take a look. So it's very vintagey, very kind of like a 30s vibe, all that good stuff. There's lots of lights, which is what you see, surrounding it. And then the blues. Look, there's like teacups and cookbooks. Then there's that green. Okay, we just got to take this off of here. I should have untied it, but I didn't. Okay, so we have all the lights, which some of them, a lot of them have like really fun images, which is, what a lot of the surrounding part of the blocks, the sashing, all around the blocks. So they're just super cute. So darling. So darling. This is what I'm using for the background and the piecing, but you can use any light, if you can't get that one. So anyways, I'm linking you to the Fat Quarter Shop to all of these. Now there's also the aqua. Here's dishes. They just, very much have that 30s feel to them. Why can't I get this in the picture? Here, let me just move that. There we go. Lots of scale, medium. Now the sashings are going to be using most of these lights, so they're going to be very, have a lot of movement. Let me put it that way. Look how cute that is. Love it. They've got the greens. Once again, a couple shades of that with a light background one. And then the parts that are darker are what we're going to use for patchwork and what Lori used for the chickens. So there's some navy, and you can add in, or you could just buy some more, some pinks. I think you all probably have some fabrics that work. I love this one. Reds, I can add in if I need to have a little bit more of something. Some golds, that's like nice golds. And then what is it? There's some brown. So kind of a mushroom color, sort of a taupey mushroom color. There we go. All right, so these are the fabrics, and you basically are using the Fat Quarter bundle and then just a background. A Fat Quarter bundle, a background, and then I think she has you buy one more Fat Quarter of something, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to just, use something I already own. And now there is the layout that you can download. So you have the layout that you can download, and this is all focused on the chickens. But I will be talking through, there's 12 blocks, so I'll be talking through doing the patchwork just like I showed you. But the chickens, you could do, if you wanted to do one chicken with the rest of them as piece blocks and do an applique chicken, or if you are really keen on doing all the chickens, you have to get this package of templates, because the chickens are not a pattern. They are a set of plastic templates. And there's some right now. There's a few out there. I'll link you in the description box and at my website today, so you could get them. And in this chart, there are all the templates listed by when you're going to use them, and Lori has it more extensively on her website for all the chicken construction. So I think every week when we're doing this, I will link you to her post for that chicken. So if you are interested in chickens, I don't even know if I'll do any chickens. I really like the form. I really like the piece blocks myself, and maybe because I'm not as big of a chicken person, but I think one of the chickens might be cute, or I might do one and put it on the back, something like that. So this is coming up. Probably late August we'll start, and it'll be 12 weeks of blocks, and I will build my sashing as I go. I am pretty much going to follow, because I want to do some mindless sewing. I'm pretty much going to follow what the Fat Quarter Shop did, because I like theirs, and maybe I'll change out a fabric here or there, switch something, but for the most part, I like how theirs look, so that's what I'm going to do. Now the little backstory is that when the Fat Quarter Shop sent this to me, they sent it to me when they were running it last year, so that I could show you the quilt. And I know some of you probably joined in while they were doing it and did the chickens or did the piece blocks. But our ambassador Suzanne, she was like writing me going, this is just so cute. And so of course that's when she and I went. I think she already had the fabric, right, Suzanne? So we went and bought fabric, or I did at least. She may have had it already. And then we got ready. I had the books. And it does take, to do those exact images, it does take both books, because they're pulled from both books, because they needed enough to get the kitchen-y kind of things. You could, if you only have one of the books and you don't want to buy the other book, you could substitute, you'd have to buy the chicken shapes instead if you want to put the chickens in, or you could just find another block that's the right size in the book that you have and use that. So you can make it flexible and make it your own. All right, so that is another one of the up and coming quilt alongs, and it will be so fun. I'm very excited to do this. I just think the fabrics to me are so delightful, and they're busy, and I love that. I love how they're all in the sashing like that. It just like, oh, it looks so good. Okay, let's just wrap up. So you're going to do this scrappy little star, which is just so cute. I actually have it all sewn in now. I sewed the whole row together. Gotta move forward, gotta move forward. And be sure, if you want to do the chicken salad, you start accumulating your fabrics and get your books and everything else. Ah, so fun. So I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.